Good afternoon. It's quite nasty because in my daily profession I promote people to walk, to stand up, but it's not allowed with this camera, so please forgive me. Thank you for the invitation. I have a story of about 20-25 minutes, and it's more or less a story I want to tell. It's not an opinion which is the truth. It's my opinion of how I see the world a little bit. And I have this title, and I think if you use this title in a Scrabble competition, I think you might win with a lot of expensive and abstract words. It's about wearable technologies, and that's some kind of a huge concept which contains a lot of aspects, possibilities, challenges, pitfalls, renewed propositions, changing society, and that on a Friday afternoon. But I think I will make it somewhere in a very lively story, and I will guide you through my opinions on this topic. First of all, just one sheet about how bad the situation is in the world. And I think you know a lot of these sources, that we live in a physical inactive society, there's a lot of sedentary behavior, and our environment is not adapted to this physical activity. I'm very lucky. I'm standing now, and I see you sitting there. It's the environment which obliges you to sit down. Can we deal with that? It's also proven that there is a very strong relationship with a lot of diseases, or so-called non-communicable diseases. Cardiovascular, cancer, diabetes, and so on and so on. But more important is what these health issues have to do with your life. Low quality of life, which is more than health, of course. Health inequalities. Those people who are treated unequal have even more inequalities in health. Growing healthcare costs, attributable mortality, and so on. But most important, and that's the key aspect, some human values are under pressure. It's not only about health, but it's about human values. This is my only sheet about the problem. Let's go to solutions. Secondly, in this society, and I've chosen this picture because you all are, I guess, within the age range of 18 to 65, more or less. This is about you. In previous years, we did labor. We had very active jobs. Now we work, and we mainly sit down behind a computer. When we did sports, previously it was about leisure and pleasure. Now it should be about health. Sports should be a trigger to health and not be pleasant anymore, more or less. It's black and white what I'm telling, of course. And if you have a look at mobility, once we were very active in our mobility, and now it's all about efficiency. The car, fast, not losing too much time. So this is a shift in society which is more or less pushing us to a sedentary behavior or less sport active behavior. The question is, can we turn around this arrow or these arrows the other way around? Can we make work more labor? Can we make sport again pleasant? And can we make mobility again active? And can we do it ourselves, or do we need something to help us? And can we find a solution in technology maybe? And is technology a solution or a nice to have gadget? Because there's also a big debate around it. If you have a look at some changes in society, and I've put them here together under the word tjon words. In Dutch you would say eringswoorden, tjon words. This is more or less a summary of our society. It's about individualization. We're all behaving more and more as individuals who wants to make their own choice. It's about informalization. Not informatization, but informalization. We want to have informal meetings, very short meetings with each other. It's about digitalization. Everything we do should be more or less digitalized. It's about medicalization. Health is everywhere in our society. Once it was a word of professionals in the health sector, now it's a word which every policymaker in every domain uses. If you talk to the wethouder, I don't know what the word is in English, but one of the responsibilities of the municipalities, who is responsible for social aspects, she talks about health. If you talk to the responsibility of the sports domain, it's about health. If you talk about mobility, it's about health. And if you talk about infrastructure, it's mainly also about health. So there's a strong medicalization of society. Deinstitutionalization. Once we had institutes, we still have them, but there's more and more a trend to deinstitutionalization. Give the power to the people. The nice Dutch word, participatiesamenleving. Regulation and deregulation. More and more rules on certain aspects and less rules on others. Intensification. If we do something, it should be a very intensive experience. If we start to run, we immediately want to go to a half marathon. A 5K run is not normal anymore. Everyone does it. More or less that's opinion. I don't mean what I'm saying. It's just to pronounce a bit the black and white positions. Commercialization. Health has become an interesting thing in society. Next to work, next to education is becoming more and more commercialized. So also your own human standards are commercialized. Once the government was responsible for our public health, and now it's becoming some kind of a trademark between service providers, health insurance companies, and an individual. And it's about quantification. If we can measure it, we think we know it. And I say we think we know it. I think there is a difference between measuring and knowing. It's not that one is the causal effect of the other. If you take a summary of these words, that's about quantified self. Quantified self is more or less this in a summary. All these aspects are related to the quantified self movement and the changing in society on these aspects. And this is I think, a picture you're very familiar with, the 24/7 society. Nowadays we can measure 24/7 with intelligent systems, close to the human body, pretty much everything. It's not only about activity, it's not only about heart rate, it's not only about blood pressure, it's not only about respiration, more or less everything can be measured. And on the other side of the big road there is the University of Technology. They can measure everything. The question is it useful? And can we do something with it? A big market, a growing market. And I will come back to it based on new products Apple launched last week. And it's showing how quick this sector is moving. I have a short movie about this watch. It's made by Adidas in sport branding. And it uses this Myo technology. It's originating from Philips, which measuring heart rate with LED technology on your wrist. So you don't need this annoying breast band, is that the correct word? Anymore. Please pay attention to the key aspects of this movie.
Speed up to red zone.